I've been watching your videos here for a few months, and I think I understand things pretty well. I understand the concept anyway. However, I have tried to explain it to a few people, and I get about halfway through, and then I start stumbling. But at any rate, what I wanted to ask you about, my wife and I basically have a pretty good situation in that we have only one debt, and that's a construction loan that pertains to our business. It's a franchise, and we were in order to renew, we had to remodel the building, which we do not own. But so anyway, that's what we did. It was $225,000, and I've been paying $3,500 a month for about the last 2 years. And the principal right now is 169,000. We took out an SBA loan because I didn't want to encumber the house. The house is paid for. We're in a suburb of Memphis, Tennessee. It's worth, I don't know, 400, maybe a little bit more, might be 450. The franchise is such I don't pay a given percentage every month. And the business is doing well, but I can take anything I want out of the business every month. We have a modest salary of $60,000 a year, but we can take anything we want out of the business, but we have to split that with the franchisor. So that being the case, they scrutinize every expense, which I'm fine with. It's always been that way. They want to make sure that I'm not buying a bass boat and calling it equipment or whatever. And I understand that. That's not a problem. The we ended up doing an SBA loan, but it's 10.75%. And so of my $3,500 I'm paying every month, $2,500 of it is going to interest. And I'm sure there's a better way. I can easily take out a HELOC, I think, and probably cover the whole thing. I'm not sure that I can run my income through like you teach. I'm not quite sure how to mix business and personal. That's really the question on my part. And I had a credit card question as well I wanted to ask, but maybe we do one first and then the other, however you want to do it.
Okay, so what is the balance on the SBA?
169.
You're paying 4,500 a month?
I'm paying them 3,500 a month.
3,500 a month.
Mhm.
Okay, so the SBA is as dirty as a mortgage. I don't know why they're dirty, because they're supposed to be for the small businessman. They're not. So
Yeah, too. I mean, the hoops that you have to jump through is ridiculous.
they're dirty. Okay, so that's just a government thing. So that's what we expect, I guess. So with the 169, let's just talk about what the 169 would look like under a HELOC instead. And you can get a business line of credit that should cover that as well. So you wouldn't have to mess with your equity if that's a problem. But at the same time,
It's a problem in that we've been in this house 29 years and we really would like to renovate here. And so, yeah, ideally, maybe we wouldn't use the house, but we'll do what we need to, I guess.
What is your cash flow after all of your expenses are paid every month? What do you have left over?
You know, we're in a very good situation. Our income is about 20,000 a month, and we don't have any other debts or payments of houses. I mean, cars or anything else. So that really isn't an issue.
Okay, so let's talk about how this is going to work out. Okay, so how long are you in the SBA for? How much time do you have left?
I think 8 years. I think it was a 10-year, and
Yeah,
we've
8 years.
August of 22. So yeah, we're not quite 2 years into it.
Okay, so if you were to use, say, 4,000 of your cash flow, let's just say that you said, okay, I'm going to use 4,000 of my cash flow, and we're going to pay this off in 42 months. The reason I picked 4,000 is because that's what you're paying right now. Do you see the difference?
I'm afraid I don't. No.
Okay, so if you have a 10-year loan paying 3,500 a month, you just cut it down to 42 months just by moving it into a line of credit using 4,000.
Okay.
Okay, so even if you just did the 3,500 that you're making right now, you're still going to be at 48 months, maybe.
So 4,000 times 48 months is 190. Okay, so that would cover the interest and everything, right?
Yeah, so if you have 169,000, your income is 20,000. Let's just see what that is. Just get an average instead of taking off the high. I'm getting confused because I'm trying to take the payment that you're making right now and just using it as is. And that way you're not putting in any new numbers.
We can
So
4,000. I mean, really wouldn't.
Okay. Okay. So doing the average daily balance instead of taking it off of the high like I did here, you're talking about 38 months with a 4,000. That includes your interest.
That's barely 3 years. Wow.
So that's the difference in that SBA where they're ripping you off right now. Now, when you say tie up your home's equity, to me, that's not tying it up. That's helping you to stop throwing away your money.
No, I agree. And I'm willing to do that. What I really meant was if I do that and use the home, I don't have the equity available to do improvements here at the house.
That's not true because
Okay.
you do have a $400,000 value, right?
Mhm.
All right, so 400,000 value at a 90% loan to value is 350 at 90%. I mean 360.
Mhm.
You use the 169 that you need,
That still leaves quite a bit. Yeah.
141,000
Right.
is
Okay.
available. So this is available. You could do both and save yourself a killing in the meanwhile. So let's talk right quick before we end this call. With the loan being paid off, what that means, let's say this pays off in 38 months, like I said, you are going to pay a total of 19,000 approximately in interest. The more you throw into this, if you can throw over 4,000, you can pay it off in a year or two, depending on how much cash flow you're going to throw into this, then you're not going to pay this much. But this would be your max interest that you would pay over the whole 38 months. Okay. That being said, your payment that you're making right now, 4,500, no, I'm sorry, 3,500 for the 10 years, that's 420,000. Your balance being at 169. That means you paid over 200,000 in interest on this.
Right.
200,000 compared to 19.
Yeah.
Actually, 251,000 is the actual. So if you're going to, I mean, see, it's a no-brainer, and that's why I get really agitated. Because, just like yourself, you thought because of your mindset that I'll move into an SBA loan that'll save the equity on my home. You just threw your home in the trash. You could have bought another home for what you're paying in interest here.
Yeah. All right. Well, that makes it pretty clear. You mentioned a business loan. Can we get the same kind of interest rate or the same kind of simple interest on a business loan as that we would on a HELOC?
You should, but take loan out of your vocabulary and turn that
Okay.
into line, because if you get into a loan, you're going to do the same thing.
I see. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it needs to be a revolving line of credit, meaning
Right.
you can put in and pull out as much as you like. They should do over the 169 you need for a business line of credit. Don't know, of course they would take your business and all that information and
Sure.
figure that out for you. But if they do, then yes, the interest rate should be lower than what it is on an individual first lien, which is about 7.3. I figured yours on 7.5 on the board here. They usually are pretty good. They're usually under 5%.
Wait. Yeah. Wait.
So that would help you to be able to get into a lower interest rate. But regardless, just getting out of the SBA is going to
Right.
be a breath of fresh air.
Right. Right. May I ask one credit card question?
Go ahead.
All right. So I use a Capital One card in the business, only for the business, nothing personal, and I charge between $40,000 and $50,000 a month, and I have an automatic payment of $12,000 every Monday. And sometimes, if I've leaned that, if I've used it more, I add another $3,000-4,000. Is this a good way of doing things, or is there another way? And the only
No.
reason the Capital One is because I get the 2% back, and that adds up. Is that good, or am I missing something?
That's exactly what I do.
Okay.
I try to pay at least once a week on mine as well, because that helps with your credit scores and everything when you do that. So I think that, and that's why I do it too, is to get the 2%. So do you have any other questions?
I don't think so. The only thing that if I went with a HELOC and I did personal and business, I don't know. I think that's going to be messy in terms of trying to separate the two. So I don't know that is going to be a good option, even if the funds are available for both. I don't know that. I think that's going to drive the accountant crazy. Does that make sense?
Well, it makes sense as in he might have to do a little bit of work to separate your personal and your business, but it makes no sense when you're talking about what you're throwing away in money every month.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It depends on how you feel about your wealth. If you're okay with throwing away $3,500 a month to trash, then I mean
I'm
that's
too old to do that. No, I'm
yeah.
not okay with that.
But
Well,
as far as I do personal and business like that with my HELOC, and I too have a CPA, and he too has to, I keep everything separated, just because, I want to keep records of my own. But I do it, and as long as you have good records with it being separate, what exactly you're doing. I mean, to me, I'd rather save money than to worry about, a little bit of extra work for the CPA.
well, so it is possible then to track everything one loan, but separate places. That can be done, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as long as you track and separate, the IRS doesn't care. They're jerks and they're going to try to get over on you no matter what they do. But it's just a matter of your records being separated. So if you're saying this 169 is business, then only that 169 plus the interest is going to be shown in your business side that you're paying off.
Mhm.
A HELOC, remember, the interest is a write-off. So that's something too, that when we're using HELOCs, we're talking write-offs in some situations, most situations.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna start working on this right away.
Okay, bye-bye.